The sound of Dhyana Paramita. Dhyana is also Sanskrit, which stands for the cultivation of contemplation or quiet deliberation. Dhyana includes the 4 dhyanas, the 8 samadhis, and the 9 sequential samadhis. There are also secular dhyana, transcendental dhyana, and the most superior form of transcendental dhyana. Secular dhyana are what we ordinary people cultivate. This includes the 4 Balist qualities of the mind and the 4 formless samadhis. We do not need to describe the states in detail. Just work hard in your meditation and you will naturally understand this state. What is a transcendental dhyana? Transcendental dhyana includes the 4 dhyanas and the 8 samadhis, the 8 superior ways, and the 8 liberations. You are confused by these terms. This is like reading a menu. Something may look good, but before you put it in your mouth, you will never know the taste of it. Now you know why there are different dhyanas. Secular dhyana, transcendental dhyana, the most superior form of transcendental dhyana. First comes dhyana, Pajas dhyana, and others. As long as you are willing to work on your cultivation, you will get a taste of its flavor in the future. And the sound of paramita, of prana paramita. Prana is Sanskrit for wisdom. Wisdom is also divided into secular wisdom and transcendental wisdom. Secular wisdom is worldly knowledge and intelligence. What are worldly knowledge and intelligence? For instance, advances in science, advances in philosophy, and all types of information are worldly knowledge. A debater who can explain principles where there are no principles has worldly wisdom. Transcendental wisdom is about pursuing the Buddhist path diligently in thought after thought, studying the Buddha Dharma continuously. Real cultivation of transcendental wisdom means contemplating the Buddha Dharma while sleeping, dreaming, suffering from sickness and pain. So is secular wisdom and transcendental wisdom one thing or two? Originally, they are one, but it depends on how you use it. Apply it to the secular, and that is a secular wisdom. Apply it to transcendental Buddha Dharma, and that is a transcendental wisdom. Wisdom is not divided into two. Originally, you were investigating the world's problems, and you knew everything in the world is suffering, emptiness, impermanence, and no self. Now, let us use this kind of wisdom to investigate transcendental studies, which is transcendental wisdom. Secular wisdom and transcendental wisdom are not two. Most people enjoy a secular form of wisdom but not transcendental wisdom. Some people enjoy transcendental wisdom but not secular wisdom. How come? Some people are very intelligent but keep doing muddled things that they should avoid. Whereas the important things, the question of birth and death, is left untouched and uninvestigated. Some people investigate transcendental questions but do not understand secular dramas. We must enter the world, yet transcend the world and enter the world. Travel freely between the secular and the transcendental. If you understand that entering the world is transcending the world, if you do not understand transcending the world is entering the world. The ancients taught us something very useful. Intelligence results from anonymous good deeds. Anonymous good deeds lead us onto the path of intelligence. Try and play smart without believing in anonymous good deed. The smart ends up being misled by their smart. Why are we intelligent as a human being? It is because in lives past we did many virtuous deeds. What are anonymous good deeds? Anonymous good deeds are not broadcasted. For instance, someone died and had no coffin, so I bought one for him and buried him. This was a good deed, but I did not tell anyone about it. In general, one will help to do good deeds without letting other people know about it. Those who did a lot of anonymous good deeds are intelligent in this lifetime. Also, if in past lives you read Buddhist sutras frequently, such as reading the Paramita Sutra several tens of thousands of times, you will be intelligent in this lifetime. Having studied a lot in the past, you will be intelligent in this lifetime too. So, intelligence is a result of anonymous good deeds. Intelligence in this lifetime comes from cultivation and virtuous deeds in lives past. Anonymous good deeds lead us on to the path of intelligence. You are intelligent because of your virtuous conduct. Virtuous conduct led you onto the path of intelligence. Try and play smart without believing in anonymous good deed. Having forgotten in this lifetime, you do not travel the path of doing good deeds. You do not believe in doing anonymous good deeds or good deeds in general. You keep using your intelligence to commit crime. The smart ends up being misled by their smarts. Their intelligence ends up hurting themselves. Why? If you were dumb, you would not do anything bad. Since you are smart, you know what other people do not know. You hurt somebody and the victim does not even realize that you are a bad person. This is called the smart ends up being misled by their wits. For example, Cao Cao was someone most intelligent, more than even ghosts and spirits, but he did inappropriate things. Though he did some good things too, he ended up being misled by his own intelligence. Of course, he did have his accomplishments. After hearing this verse, people who would like to be intelligent should work hard at doing good deeds, contributing to humanity, and avoiding harming others. Let me add another supplement on the paramita of keeping the precepts. When the Buddha was in the world, two bhikshus wanted to go and see Shakyamuni Buddha. After traveling a long ways without encountering any water, the two bhikshus were extremely thirsty, so thirsty they were at the brink of death. One bhikshu saw a human skull with some water and said, "Since we are so thirsty right now, we can drink the water in this skull." The other bhikshu said, "No, there are insects in the water, so we should not drink it. But look at how thirsty we are. Drink this water and we will not die of thirst, and we will see Shakyamuni Buddha then. If we die of thirst, then it would be impossible to see the Buddha. I would rather die from keeping the precepts and miss seeing the Buddha. I will follow the Buddha's teachings even if I have to die for it." The first bhikshu drank the water in the ladle-like skull, while the other did not drink the water and died of thirst indeed. The bhikshu who drank the water went on ahead to see the Buddha. When he got there, he asked the Buddha. There were two of us who were extremely thirsty about halfway along the journey. We saw a human skull with water, and I drank the water so that I did not have to die, so that I may come to visit the Buddha. My fellow cultivator was willing to die of thirst than drink that water because of the insects in the water. He would violate the precepts if he drank it. I drank the water and did not die. He did not drink the water and died of thirst. I get to see the Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha said, you thought he died of thirst? Since that bhikshu kept the precepts, I made it so that he got to see me first. He is already here listening to my Dharma talks. Although keeping the precepts is extremely difficult, I understand his sincerity. Although you get to see me, you did not uphold the precepts, so you are not so sincere. He has already become enlightened and certified to the fruition, but you still have to cultivate over time. This tells us how we must be sincere in doing the 6 paramitas of precepts: patience, giving, vigor, dhyana, samadhi, and wisdom, as well as the myriad conducts. Insincere, we are casual and will not accord with the Buddha Dharma. We must do what is true. So, guard the mouth and gather in thoughts. Make no bodily transgressions. Never distress a sentient being. Stay far removed from unuseful asceticism. Practitioners like these save the world. This 4-line gatha is something that monks and nuns should always remember. Act according to this gatha. It is extremely important to keep the precepts. Do not be casual about it. Be a little bit casual and you miss the target. So cultivation requires sincerity and down-to-earth steps. Do not float along. Do it honestly. There was a sound of compassion. Kindness can bestow joy, while compassion can uproot suffering. All beings hear this voice of Shakyamuni Buddha and leave suffering and attain bliss, liberated from birth and death. The sound of joyous giving. Joyously give. Kindness and compassion, joy and giving are the 4 balanced qualities of the mind. We must be delighted when we give. We do not regret it after we give, for that would not be delight. Shakyamuni Buddha uttered this sound of joyous giving so that all beings heard it and wished to give happily. The sound of liberation. Liberation is a type of true freedom, unrestrained and unbounded. From what are we liberated? We are liberated from the suffering and afflictions of birth and death in the 6 paths of transmigration. Once upon a time, a monk requested a prominent Sangha member to speak the Dharma. He asked, "Senior monk, how can we become liberated?" This prominent monk said, "Who tied you up?" The listening monk became enlightened instantaneously. "No one tied me up, I tied myself up." We are naturally liberated if we do not tie ourselves up. What does it mean by tying ourselves up? Here is where we should think things over. We are not at ease because there are things we do not see through and cannot let go. At ease. If at ease, we are liberated. If we can see through everything and let them go, then we are truly free. That is, being unrestrained and unbounded, unhindered and unimpeded liberation that leave mixed-up dream thinking far behind. Really let go and attain liberation. Refuse to let go and there will be no liberation. Shakyamuni Buddha spoke with this sound of liberation, so we should liberate ourselves too. Do not tie ourselves up and lock ourselves in jail forever. How come we bind ourselves and lock ourselves up? If we were not in jail, you would be liberated. Since you are not liberated, it is as if you are in jail. You are not free to go east when you want to. You are not free to go west when you want to. You are not free to go south when you want to. You are not free to go north when you want to. Freedom does not come from this stinking skin bag, but this inherent nature. An inherent nature that enjoys freedom may live if one wants, die if one wants to at any time. One may die disease-free. One simply sits there and dies. This is true freedom. At that point, birth and death is not up to fate, but up to me. I may become born if I want to. I may die if I want to. I may live until I am 100, 1,000, 10,000. I may not want to become born. Then I can always stay at our original home. When I want to live in this house, I live in this house. When I do not want to live in this house, I can move anytime. There are two explanations as to why you might want to live in this house. Your consciousness, which is yin, is free. It may travel to New York, Europe, Australia, or anywhere. You would know everything about that location, but you cannot take anything with you. You cannot buy something in New York and bring it back to San Francisco with you. Why? Consciousness is in the yin realm. It can see New York, but it cannot do anything there. The other is that your inherent Buddha nature is free. The Buddha nature is young and has great uses using the entire substance. Even when you are in San Francisco, you may reach your hand out and get something from New York. Is that amazing? Is that spiritual powers? This is a state of liberation without restraint or constraint, not impeded or obstructed. One trichiliocosm, for instance, can be as close as if it were in the same room. You can accomplish anything you want in the world. This is the young Buddha nature. If you are liberated and free, then you will experience this kind of state. People with such states do not easily reveal themselves. Do not try to make me buy some German product for you because I can do it with my spiritual powers. This is forbidden. When the Buddha was in the world, he told all of his disciples not to use their spiritual powers. You have to leave this world if you see your spiritual powers. Since most people do not have spiritual powers, they will be shocked by your spiritual powers. In short, when you can do things as you wish, that is in the yang realm. When there are things you cannot do, this is in the yin realm and a function of consciousness. Every one of us must be clear about this. The sound of no outflows. What are no outflows? It is no ignorance. Without ignorance, there is no outflow. With even just a bit of ignorance, you cannot be free of outflow. Ignorance is the root of afflictions. Ignorance leads to numerous afflictions. The absence of ignorance spells zero afflictions. How come you are greedy? It is because of your ignorance. How come you are hateful? It is because of your ignorance. How come you are deluded? It is because of your ignorance. Ignorance is the root of afflictions. How come you have desire, lust? It is also because of your ignorance. Since you are unclear at the start, you create all kinds of karma. Were you to have the sounds of no outflows, you would be free from ignorance. There Shakyamuni Buddha emitted all kinds of sounds to make all beings become enlightened through sound. The substance of the true teachings here comes from purification through hearing sound. The fundamental substance of Buddhism in the Saha world is in sound. We do the Buddha's work with sounds, hence there are all kinds of sounds on proclaiming, praising, and explaining. Sutra, the sound of wisdom, the sound of great wisdom, the sound of the lion's roar, the sound of the great lion's roar, the sounds of thunderclouds and the sounds of great thunderclouds. After he had uttered indescribably many sounds, Commentary: The sound of wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom changes delusion. There is no delusion with the presence of wisdom. There is no wisdom with the presence of delusion. These two do not exist simultaneously. Let me tell you something else that is easier to understand. Wisdom is delusion. Delusion is wisdom. Some say, I must be wise because I am deluded now. Let me use this delusion to be as deluded as I possibly can. If you can be as deluded as possible, you have real wisdom. Some say, Dharma Master, I do not believe this idea of yours. Wisdom is delusion. Delusion is wisdom. What I see is that deluded individuals always do muddled things, while wise people do things with a clear understanding. Not bad. What you say is very much correct, and what I say is very much incorrect. How? It is because delusion can turn into wisdom, so I say delusion is wisdom. Since wisdom can also turn into delusion, I say wisdom is also delusion. A few days ago, when I talked about intelligence results from anonymous good deeds, I made this principle very clear already. But I am bringing it out again. How come you would not be deluded if you were wise? It is because wise people